Here.
Here.
Yeah, we first turn our microphones on. Yep. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would anybody like to volunteer to lead us in a short prayer? Anybody in the audience around here? You'd like to?
Our gracious God and Father, we're thankful for each heart and soul that is present here today. We're thankful for these servants that serve on our Kidder City Council. We ask your blessings upon them. We ask that you would be with us as a community, that you might give us wisdom in managing the resources that are in our purview, and also the relationships that we have with one another. We ask all these things in Christ's name.
Thank you, Doug. So good afternoon, everybody, and thanks everybody for coming out today. First, I just want to say thank you for taking the time out of your Saturday to be here. The fact that people show up and ask questions, share ideas, and care enough to be involved says a lot about our community. I want to start by setting some expectations for today. This is intended to be a casual conversation more than a presentation. We'll share a few updates, particularly on the water project, emergency preparedness efforts, and some things we're beginning to talk about for Lynn Valley's future. But honestly, I want to hear and spend more time listening than talking today. I don't pretend to have every answer, and I certainly don't think City Hall has all the best ideas by itself. Some of the best ideas come from residents who live here every day and see things firsthand and care deeply about our community. So today is really about hearing from you. What concerns do you have? What ideas do you think deserve attention? What would you like Lynn Valley to look like in 5, 10, or 20 years? And just as importantly, what you don't want to see happen. We'll talk briefly about the water transition as we prepare to connect the former POA system to the city system and move away from the lake as our water source. We'll provide an update on where things stand, what residents can expect in the coming days and weeks, and answer questions as best we can. We'll also hear from Jade Ward about the beginning stages of our emergency preparedness and after action planning process. This isn't about presenting a finished plan, it's about starting the conversation around how we can better prepare as a community for severe weather and emergencies going forward. And finally, I'd like to hear your thoughts on bigger picture topics, things like community storm shelter ideas, economic development, and our comprehensive plan update. The current plan is nearly 20 years old, and we're going to update it. I want to reflect what the people of the Valley actually want, not just what somebody in an office thinks sounds good. At the end of the day, my goal is pretty simple: to help make Lynn Valley a place that is sustainable, safe, and a community people are proud to call home. So thank you again for being here. Let's have a good conversation, keep it respectful, and hear from each other. And let's get started. And I'm going to make one more comment. I'm here to listen today, but I also get excited when people start talking, and it makes me think of ideas. So if I start talking too much, somebody shoot me an evil eye and I'll stop. I want to hear from you guys. But so with that, we'll move into the today's topics, and I think I pretty much already went over all that. So water project, where we are. We're just under a year from completion. Actually, Richard, do you want to take this? This is your project.
We are about, I think the last report from the construction meeting was we was about 52% complete in construction. The water tower is, we're going to say 99% complete. The field station is again about 99% complete. There is water in some of the lines. We've got water down the main. The tributaries, the other mains that go to the city streets are not yet charged. Meters should be going in on holiday at some point. We hope to get something out to everyone. It was suggested to put door tags on the houses that we were going to install a meter. I don't know if the door tags are made or if that's going to happen. That's been a suggestion of ours. The POA is hauling water out of the fill station, which is going well. I've been there almost every day this week, making sure that they didn't have any issues. I'm trying to help them with the transition to the city fill station. I also am going to volunteer to go to the city fill station for anyone that wants to learn how to use the equipment. And I wanna see firsthand what problems that people are having. But I will be there about 3:30 in the afternoons, just as long as anybody shows up. That way, if there's any questions, I can get them handled right then. As far as cleanup is happening. It's a slow process. There's a ton of rocks, I'm sure everybody has seen. The rocks are the hard part about getting out of here. If there's any issues, they need to be called in and reported to Mindy, to City Hall. Facebook is not the place that we're going to accept reports. Nobody monitors Facebook here, so any calls that need to come in have to come in to Mindy, okay? What else?
The tie-in.
The tie-in at, I believe it's Rosemarie. When the process is that when they lay a piece of pipe, it has to be flushed, it has to be disinfected, and then it has to be tested. The testing part, they got to send into a lab. We're at the mercy of the lab to send results back. There's got to be so many tests passed before that they're going to approve that line to be usable, okay? But that tie-in was supposed to happen Thursday. We didn't get sufficient testing done, so that was moved to Friday. We said, well, let's just wait till Monday. We didn't want to have any problems. Last I've heard, I'm not sure that it's going to happen Monday. We'll let everybody know when that happens. Now, when that tie-in happens, there's always going to be some residual sediment or something that could come through the lines on Rosemary. Okay, there's going to be air pockets in the line, so please be aware of that. When it happens, we'll do our best to let everybody know. If you signed up for the online, what do they call it? Text by Gov. Mindy will text everybody out and let everybody know. Okay, Mindy will text out all the information that she has on that particular Text My Gov to let everybody know what's going on. So just be aware that when transitions and turn-ons begin, we're going to get a little something through the water lines. Be patient, okay? And then after 2 or 3 days of usage, it should clear out, okay? What else?
The cloudiness. The cloudiness of the water is expected because that's air pockets, correct?
Right.
So there's nothing
it's-
wrong with the water, it's just air.
It's just
Makes
sediment,
it cloudy.
sediments and air. That's all it is. The sediment should clear out really quickly. The tiny air bubbles from the air pockets should clear out within a day or two.
And part of that, right, is because the water is going to be flowing in the opposite direction than what it had done before. So it's going to kick up some stuff that may have been in some joints or something that the other way.
Can I ask a question of that?
Sure.
Would it be helpful with everybody who's connected then, go to the lowest point of their house and turn a faucet on and let it run for a while?
Absolutely.
Take the, aerator
Yeah.
out, you just want the straight water, just let it run. That's gonna help clear the line even faster.
Yeah. And another thing is this water will be a little higher pressure than you guys are used to, which,
And it'll be at a consistent.
it'll be
pressure
consistent. You won't have this, waviness. So,
Fluctuation.
yeah.
But yeah, take the aerators off. I didn't think about that, so thank you for that. Take the little screw deal off the end of the faucet so it don't stop up with sediment. You're gonna get some. There's no way around that. It's just the nature of the beast. And, yeah, but if everybody just be patient with us and understand what's going to happen, we'll make this transition as smoothly as possible. Yes, sir.
Two things. One is, I'm not sure, I'm relatively new, if I'm on a list, if I'm gonna get a, et cetera, et cetera. I heard something about a text situation, so is that something I could get on? Is that how
You can
get
go to the
updated?
city website. It's got a place for you to sign up.
City website,
Yep.
okay. Second is the line that we're all to get from the main to the house. I see advertisements already on some of the Facebook plumbers saying, I can do it for $2,500.
Right.
Is the city going to recommend certain people to do that work, or are we on our own for that?
There is a list of approved contractors that are allowed to work inside Lynn Valley. The processes are gonna be kinda like this. If you want to hook up to the meter, okay, you need to come fill out a permit. Once you fill out the permit, then you can look at the list of approved contractors. And then, we're going to highly recommend that you have somebody hook your water line up to the city meter by a licensed plumber. Reason being is because if the licensed plumber breaks our meter, breaks the city meter, then it's on him to replace. It won't be on you, and that won't be an added expense for you. And then also, when you lay the line, there's guidelines as far as codes we'll be looking for. But we're also recommending, adding a tracer wire, and it's just a piece of copper wire running where the pipe is. That way, if someone calls 811 before you dig, they can find your water line and avoid it, just like they do electrical lines and stuff like that. So we recommend that.
So is there, for a homeowner, two charges? One, you're getting, buying the meter, and one, you're paying someone to hook it up. I'm just not clear on what to expect in terms
And,
of cost.
and your Mindy would be the one to tell you whether or not you get a meter or not,
Okay.
or have been figured into this. Okay, and then the meter cost, yes, you'd have to buy a meter from the city, but it's gonna be at whatever cost we have bought the meters for this project. So
Yeah, it's 2,000.
okay,
$2,000.
$2,000 to buy a meter,
I think I'll
which,
just talk to Mindy after the meeting.
yeah,
I'm just trying to get information.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a list that's got the free property, the properties that are getting the free meters.
Yeah, they're meters that were included in the grant and loan. We still have to pay for them, they're not free, but the residents don't pay for them as part of their install. Now, there's like 830 meters. 130 of those or so were the old POA meters that we swapped out already, and the other 700 or so are people that are gonna get meters that didn't have one. And I saw a hand somewhere, yes.
I'm also new to all of this. My house is about a year old. The main lines haven't come down my street. Will be a little while. However, I heard the property, my house is a year old. The property next to me is about 7 or 8 years old. I heard that they're going to skip people that weren't in this certain time frame, and they can't get water until. Can you clarify that?
well, the way it's gotta work is the project has to be completed before we add any more. Okay, so whatever our commitment to the USDA, when they approve this project, we've gotta lay in all the infrastructure first, okay? Then, when we get ready and get all of this done, then we'll do an expansion project.
So you're
Where we
saying only
will,
those homes in the initial USG offering project grant thing.
I didn't hear all of you, I'm
So are
sorry.
you saying that only the houses that were existent at the time that you did the USD grant thing will be included in
Right.
getting water?
And that was back in 2017, and we've added some since then.
Well, it
Well, if the house.
depends on the road,
Well,
what road you
okay.
live on.
I know where
hold
you're
on.
going. But I'm just, my concern
Okay,
is that
let me,
older
let me,
houses
let
get
me,
it
let me
more.
finish everything before you ask any more, okay? Because once this gets done, and then let's say that you need a meter, we can, without the project ending, we can, and we've got it in, the ordinance, that the city will pay for 100 feet of line to your house if it's feasible. Anything after that, you'll have to pay for. Now, you can do that over and above before the expansion project happens.
Okay. Do you have any ETA in the expansion project, or is that?
We can't even think about that until this project's finished.
Okay.
And that's roughly a little less than a year out, I think is what they're
Yeah,
what they're
about
saying.
a year.
The building permit, there is no charge for. However, you will need to have a survey on file. That's just so that we can make sure that the water line that you're gonna bury from your meter to your house stays on your property and not somebody else's, 'cause
And there are some other guidelines for that. Your water line has to be minimum 10 feet away from the sewer on your property. And then it has to be, where does the 25 feet come from? I forgot.
That's off the
Yeah.
Off the main, yeah.
off the main, yeah.
yeah,
the water.
the holding tanks have to be 25 feet away from,
The main
Uh,
water main.
If the water line is within the 10 feet, the water line has to be isolated and insulated from the sewer. So that's on, that part of the, goodness, I lost my words. Anyway, if you have a pin locate within, that we have on file here, we'll accept that. If you haven't, or they can't find a pin locate on your property, then you will have to buy another one, or have someone come resurvey your property. But we have to have a pin locate on file. Yes,
I have a question about that. What if they rip them out? We have one on our property and it's laying on top of the ground that I see, and there may be another one that.
okay,
is
these are,
not.
The pin
let,
or the
I'll
flag?
let Matthew answer that one.
So I'm just gonna step up here, so
The
people
survey.
are looking at me. So when they do a survey, when the county initially surveyed all these properties, however many years ago it was, rebar was put in the ground. It's not pulled out. The wooden post is not your official,
It's not.
right, but any post sticking out of the ground,
It's not. It was in the ground.
they ripped the rebar out of the ground.
We got a thing that has a little top on it, says something, and it's about this long, and it's just laying there.
Okay, you might have to have that resurveyed to make sure that,
I'm responsible for that.
who took it out?
They did.
Who's they?
The contractor?
What contractor? The water contractor? Like, that's what I'm trying to find out.
The
So-
one that put the line past our house.
Okay, so then you need to come talk to Mindy so we can get with Hettinger and make sure that that gets put back, that that gets redone. If they pulled that out, they would be responsible to fix that. But for anyone here, your property's always marked. If you get a decent metal detector, you can generally find those marking pins. If it's someone like in her case where they've been pulled out, then yes, we'll talk to Hettinger about getting that fixed.
Any other questions for Matthew while he's up there?
I can just steal Curtis's chair.
there you go.
There you go. Oh, you gotta move the camera now.
I have a question.
Yeah.
And this is about the self-hauling water system that the city has up there. I've been up there twice and have not been able to haul water because the pipe coming down is too big. And it doesn't reach our tank. Our tank is in the bottom, it's the back of our pickup truck. My husband went to Home Depot to get a bigger pipe, we already have a 4-inch pipe. They said if we need a 5-inch, but that's commercial, so it's a special order. For all these people who have to self-haul, how are they gonna do this?
Do you?
I
The-
mean, because not
Ja-
everybody's on the water, will
Right.
be on the water.
Why wouldn't you just
According,
grab a 6-inch?
according to Perry,
They said it's commercial,
At 6
No, but
inches
it's-
too?
yeah, so you have to order them. This
But
is what Home Depot.
5 inches is a different size, that's why they're telling you that. 6 inches is a normal size.
Okay.
They should
Well,
have that in stock.
so according to Perry, he works for the POA and he's in charge of water and sewer. According to Perry, he's found out that a 6-inch pipe, like John says, will just slide over the top of it.
Okay.
And
Well, that's good
we're
know
trying to keep
because
it,
Nobody will
we-
come up with any solution.
we have to accommodate several different scenarios here, like thousands of scenarios. The main thing that we're concerned about is haul trucks. Because when these drivers drive in, it has to just barely clears and go inside the tank. And so it's gotta be this length.
Why did we not do the telescopic one like the POA has?
Well, 'cause that was homemade. And it might
Maybe they
not,
can make one.
USDA might not look favorably upon it.
Yeah, I think right now I don't know the word I'm looking for, but the stance we're taking is, Richard's gonna be up there and, you know, for a little while and help people try to figure out what needs to be done. Unfortunately, we can't actually provide you, like, one idea was we'll just have a bunch of different size pipes up there and then people can use them, but then that gets into issues with, you know, if people don't put them back or they stay clean, we can get in liabilities on so there's so many things we can't do as a city that we would like to do. So I think right now what we're trying to figure out is how can we help everybody figure out the best way for them to adapt their setup now to, and I know there's been a few people that other citizens that have come up and said, hey, we got this idea or that idea of things that they've shared that we'll get those all shared out soon.
Our main thing here is sanitation.
Yeah.
We gotta be sanitary, we have to make sure that there's clean, safe water coming out of the end of that hose. And if we got a bunch of accessories here that everybody uses, that's gonna create problems. So that's kind of where we're going with that. But we're working on, getting a hose that would fit the trucks. A 6-inch piece of pipe should slide over the top of it and work just fine.
Yeah, go right ahead.
As long as the project is open and we're under USDA, this is how they approve stuff, we can't really change anything. Because they still have to come through at the end of the project and say, yes, you did it according to what we approved.
Because there's gonna be inspections.
Yeah, and
So
if,
we can't really alter anything until this is done, signed off, and it's yours.
because we could end up losing our funding and then
Yeah.
we're in a world hurt.
Do they come out and check things periodically?
They depend on, BG and their documentation
I mean,
from Jim.
we're in constant communication between USDA and,
I was just curious.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's emails.
So, you know, if we were to change it and then take it off before the USDA inspection, they would probably know about it before that ever happened, because in the reports that they get from B&G and stuff, they would probably say, hey, they did this, and then we'd be in trouble.
I think a big part that it's hard to get across to the community is that we have these guidelines that we have to follow. And I'll give you an example. If you buy a hook for, you know, you're gonna pick something up, and it says that it'll lift 12 tons, in actuality, because of the government's involvement, that'll lift 16 to 18 tons. But there's so much safety factored in through all the government bureaucracy. That's why we cannot do anything that's gonna get red flags on us, and then they pull our funding, which includes the grant money. So, like Mindy said, till we get through the whole process and USDA is signed off on everything, they could come in at any time during that. Which is why you said the telescopic thing, you know, it's not gonna fall under the government guidelines of what's okay.
That's not what they approved.
Yeah.
That's what they approve, yeah. And another thing I wanna touch on is that this water project, the way we have it funded, the way we are going to pay for it will not impact your taxes whatsoever. Okay? I don't know if that's been made clear. The monthly water charge is how we're gonna make the payments. Yes,
Who does the grant come from specifically?
USDA, along with KDHE, which is
Which
the
also-
Kansas Department of Health.
Health.
Yeah.
And like Richard said, it's all about sanitation. Because the government's real job, I know that the government in this country does a lot more than they're supposed to, but their real job is for health, safety, and welfare. So those are the ones that are really, really concentrated on.
Anything else? Yes, sir.
Those of us that have a cistern now, water cistern, what happens to the cistern long-term?
It's yours.
It's
Do what
yours.
you want with it.
It has to be disconnected from the system. You can't fill your cistern from the city water.
And the inspector will need to take a picture of your water line going past that, that it's not hooked into it.
Me, I'm gonna use mine for a 1,500 gallon, rain barrel. Water my front yard with.
Yeah, it's yours to do.
There has been talk.
Also, could.
What's that?
But when I looked into the cost of what it would take to put,
To turn
The
one into
lid.
a storm shelter, just for personal use.
Yeah.
I don't have one, but.
I've heard that there are people that.
Talk to Mike Page.
Yeah.
He said something the other day that's interesting.
Something about a thicker top or something that they can.
He builds tops for them,
well,
sounds
talking
like.
to Chad Page, who actually does it,
Mhm.
by the time you spend the money for
Yeah.
that top,
Buy you a
you could buy
Storm
a,
shelter.
who's that guy that was in here, he bought one for $3,000?
Something like that, yeah.
For 90 people,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. I don't like my folks, you probably never done it.
And
But as far as what you can do with the system, when I personally contacted the state 2.5, 3 years ago to ask what needed to be done with those, and what the lady there told me is a lot of people use it, like Richard just said, they will take drainage from their roofs and put it in there, and then they'll use that to water their gardens or water their grass.
I've heard some people talk about, depending on how it's all laid out, but using it as a second tank for their sewer. So that, they could run a line between them, so they could double up. I don't know if it's feasible or not. I've heard people talk about doing that.
That would be a question for Matthew, though, because I don't know if that's.
I've got an email into KDHE asking them, does a water tank meet the requirements of a sewer tank? I'm waiting to hear back to find out for sure from KDHE before we can say, yes, you can use it as a backup sewer tank.
You could make a nice, goldfish pond.
You could.
Would that need to be approved, if someone would turn theirs into a backup sewer tank, would that need to be approved by Matthew?
I would assume so.
I need to see the hookups to it to make sure that it's properly hooked up and flowing over so there's no overspill, or there's no leakage or anything like that. I'm just waiting for KDHE to say that, yes, you can turn a water tank into a sewer tank.
But Matthew, probably, and this is just me guessing, but probably if they bring that over into their water tank, that's probably gonna have to be cored.
Yes.
And there'll have to be a pH2 rubber put in there, so it is
Yes,
complete.
correct.
You
Yes.
can't just put concrete around
No,
it.
it has to be cored out, a pipe
Yeah.
ran through it, and
Yeah.
then,
It's technical.
hydraulic cement put around it or some type of sealant so there's no leaking.
But whatever they want to do with it, I would strongly encourage you to keep something in it to keep it held down so it don't float up on you. They will float.
So that would deter from doing a storm shelter.
Put concrete benches.
Tight ends.
Anything else?
Well, as we continue on and we get to the Q&A at the end, if anybody thinks of any other questions, you're more,
Well, one other that hasn't been asked, you said that the permit for the meter hookup was no charge.
Correct.
But the timing of that from when the water is to my meter and completing the permit process, is there a timeline?
90 days.
Well, that's after the permit's full, or I.
You have to be hooked up
You
to
have
the
to-
meter
from the day your, 90 days from the day your meter's dropped.
Do you think the contractors can keep up with that demand?
Well, we did, when we were discussing that, we did put in there that if you made good faith effort to do so, and you weren't able to because you had to get a survey, or you couldn't get a contract, or whatever reason, if you made good faith effort to, attempt to get it in that time, you can come in and appeal to us and we can give you an extension.
Okay.
We just don't wanna leave it open-ended and, leave it sit there forever before they get hooked up.
As far as checking to see if we have the pins on file, do we just reach out to Mindy? Is there something you guys look up in our files? How do we
Paige
know?
should be able to answer that.
You'll be able to help us?
Or you can have a copy of your survey at home
Yeah.
that you can bring in, because I've got copies of all mine.
I don't think I have one because I bought my house.
Mr. Hemphill, not everybody does it.
Everybody should.
I don't, and I know mine's been surveyed.
So, as soon as that meter goes in your front yard, the next month you're getting charged $65,
No.
whether it's hooked up or not?
90 days.
90
You've
days.
got 90 days. Now, once you get it hooked up, if you get it hooked up in 15 days, then you get started charging at that point.
Okay.
But we won't start charging you until it's been there 90 days if you haven't hooked it up. And then that's also if say you just forgot until the day before your 90 days was up. Obviously, that's not good cause. But, if you couldn't get a survey or whatever, then you can come to us and say, hey, I can't get a survey for another 3 months. Then
Didn't Matthew have to inspect those? Didn't you have to inspect those?
When they hook up, when the homeowner gets hooked up to the meter, when they pull that permit, I will do an inspection on it.
Okay, so once you inspect it, you final that.
Yep.
That's when the billing would
Yeah.
start, when Matthew
Yeah,
Final.
finals it.
And then he'll let
Mhm.
whoever know here, and that'll flip the switch.
yep. And then we'll have it, then your meter would get turned on once you're final. Mike Page is our contractor for that. I'd let him know, he'd go out and turn that meter on.
Okay.
So you probably want to get that coordinated too, because, you don't want to disconnect your cistern and then,
Right.
take
Correct.
a little while for you to get there and
Correct.
Mike to turn it on and
Yeah.
everything. So we'll want to, make sure we get that coordinated, because we don't want somebody sitting without water for.
And as Matthew does it, he's gonna figure out a system.
Yeah, me and Mike have already talked about it. I mean, I've got his direct line, I can text him right off the bat and be like, this house is cleared. At that same time, it'll probably go through email. I'd email Mindy. Also, Paige gets a copy of my emails. Mike would get it. So there's gonna be multiple copies sent out that say this has been passed and completed. And then as the homeowner, you will get a copy of your inspection report also that says it's passed. So I would probably say within a day or two, Mike would be out there to have it turned on after it's passed.
So does that mean people won't have water for a day or two?
No, you can still be hooked up. So once your meter's in, and
That's
you,
not what you said.
once your meter's in and you're hooked up, and if I've decommissioned your tank, no, you'll be turned on immediately.
Okay.
If your tank is decommissioned, if you're off a tank,
Okay,
then no, you're gonna get turned on immediately. I will coordinate with Mike, to be like, I have an inspection at this meter at this time, so he can meet me out there and turn it on.
okay.
You got that.
We're doing our best to make it painless.
Yeah.
Okay.
We know there'll be
We're not gonna leave
hiccups,
anybody
but
without water.
we're trying.
Sometimes we're taking all the pains to make it painless for you guys, but we're trying. Patience is key.
Patients are people in a hospital.
Never mind. What else?
We'll move on to the next topic, and if there's more questions, you can ask. One more?
Yeah, sorry. So, on these meters, is there, you talk about rules and, you have to be here, there, so far away from, is that written down that we can get a copy of that?
Yes,
Yes.
Where do we get a copy of that?
up here, just up at City Hall. I'm here Monday. I will get that printed out and make sure Paige and Mindy both have a copy of it, so that all those setback requirements can be put out.
Can we add that to the building permit for the water? So that when somebody gets, they've got all their information in that same packet?
So the lines that are going in now, Hettinger's already accounted for that. If the sewer tank is less than 25 feet, they wrapped it.
Yep.
So what's going in right now is up to code.
Well, one of our houses doesn't even have one on our property, it's on the neighbor's property.
The what?
The stakes or whatever that they originally put out, it's not on our lot, it's on an empty lot next door.
For the meter?
Well, whatever they staked out, you know, they have a stake here and a stake here, which look like, you know, something to do with a meter. It's not on our lot, it's on the lot next door.
Cause they have like,
And I was up here and asked about it, and, you said you were gonna send somebody out, nothing's been done. Nothing, nobody's, as far as I know, it's still the same way.
Does the stake say meter on it, or does it just say some other stuff on it?
I'm sorry,
Does the stake say meter on it, or does it say other stuff on it?
I didn't look at it that close.
Because some of them said meter, and that was where they were gonna put the meter, and other ones were just like for the distribution lines.
Okay, so.
Or for a valve, or
For a valve or something like
for,
that.
For fitting.
They had a lot of stakes for different things.
Yeah.
no, you're not the only one that said that, so.
Is there a stake that says, say, meter on it?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's no stake on our lot, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, they may not have done it, because they were putting stakes out for a while, and then people were pulling them out, so they quit doing it,
So they're only staking like,
right before they get ready to do
She's
it
on
now.
Rosemary.
Well,
Okay.
not actually, this on.
Oh, the other house, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Birch Court.
So, they were, I mean, they're supposed to be starting on the distribution lines from where it comes in from Lacey and up Holiday and stuff first, when they start dropping meters, so there'll be flags there, and then where, I don't know where they're going to next, but,
They're gonna take a block,
yeah, they're gonna take us,
a block, an area of lines that they've got in that are not charged yet. And then they're gonna put the meters in there next. So which block is next, I have no clue. They had told me. But the first new meters going in to the new water line is gonna be down to Main, from Lacine down Holiday.
and all the offshoots there.
And just so y'all know, the reason why he doesn't know is because when we bid the project, we did not do the phasing to save money on cost. Because you're letting the contractor decide what they need to do, what's more efficient for them, as opposed to us telling them to go here or there.
Yeah,
And that makes a big difference on your pricing.
yeah.
So the cleaning up part of this, you know, like where they dug up and all of that, when, you said something before, you know, be patient, whatever. Is that scheduled at any time or?
What they've told us is, and tell me if I'm wrong, Richard, that once they finish an area, they will clean up that area, and the area is not finished until the meters are dropped.
Well, they're doing cleanup right now.
Yeah, they're doing some of that.
They're
Down
gonna,
Valley
they're
Drive.
gonna clean up the bulk of the debris from the main lines. But the total 100% cleanup will not happen until after the meters go in. Because once a main line goes in, then they have to come back and run a service line to a meter from that main line. Well, that's more digging. So now you've got that mess, and then you just cleaned it up, you made it pristine, you planted grass. Now you're gonna dig it all up to run a service line to a meter. So it doesn't make sense to do all the cleanup now. Let's wait till all the service lines get put in, all the meters get put in, and then we'll do the cleanup. Yes,
And the tree debris?
all the debris.
I have a question.
Okay.
At the end of Holiday, when you come up Elm, you know, if you go to the end of Holiday, turn that corner on Elm from the bottom, the road is just washed away and destroyed. You can't
Okay.
even get 2 cars around that corner. I mean, and it is deep.
Okay, then Mindy needs to know about this so we can
Okay.
get them
I'm in
on
it.
board.
Write that down, Mindy, you've been notified.
You've been
she has to
notified.
come up here.
During normal business hours, right?
No.
I mean, it's bad.
Yeah, Dave.
Could you get 2 cars around, I'm just asking, before? Could you get
Yes.
You could, but it's gotten down a lot more, and it's
And
very deep. There's a deep drop off right there.
If my car went in it, somebody would be knowing.
Timing of the water plant decommissioning.
Uh-huh.
That's a mess.
So there's two pieces to it. There's your, I'll let you answer, I'll keep stopping on your feet.
One is, we have to get the tie-in to the original POA customers off the water plant meters. That tie-in's gotta happen first. When that happens, then basically, at that point in time, once that valve gets turned, water plant's done. It's decommissioned. And I don't like that word, because that's not how I interpret decommission. Decommission is basically, the water plant will be offline when they turn that valve. Offline to me is a little bit better description. Okay. Now, it's my understanding that there are valves and pipe running through the water plant that services the irrigation pond on the golf course. Okay? Them are to remain intact.
On the outside of the plant.
Yeah.
They're not from the plant.
Well, they run close by the plant,
Yeah.
from what I understand. As far as the plant itself, I know, I found out that there's like a 150,000 gallon cistern under the plant.
15,000.
Oh, 15,000?
Yeah.
A little small.
Bigger's better,
That's
right?
Man, I thought you had our storm shelter problem, sir,
Anyway.
all right there.
Sorry about that. So anyhow, there's a cistern under the plant, so if the building gets torn down, you gotta worry, the POA's gotta worry about what they gonna do there.
What?
Huh?
What you're gonna do with the water plant?
Why the POA?
Who owns the water plant?
We own the building,
Who owns the equipment inside the building?
you bought
The
it.
city.
They're saying we do.
I think
You guys
that's-
didn't buy the equipment that made the water
They didn't
plant
buy
work?
anything,
No.
it was
No.
deeded over to them.
I think that's definitely
That's
Still
still,
open.
that's still a conversation
Yeah.
that probably needs to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so we
think so
couldn't
too.
find the original contract.
I don't remember it being.
The original, okay, the contract for the water project is basically
no,
the
not that.
decommissioning.
No,
the water, the
we're
complex.
talking about
was the
the
original
deeding over the
contract
water
then?
plant to the city.
Okay,
We need to go
Wasn't it
back.
deeded
But-
over because that's the only way we could get it?
Yes,
Yeah,
I've got it on my computer.
Yeah,
I thought that's.
I've read
No,
over
it was
too. and
deeded
it's-
over
Didn't
because,
say anything about equipment though.
because it
No.
wasn't passing inspection.
The only equipment it
Because
mentioned was some of the
private
trucks.
entities have,
Oh,
It mentioned some of the trucks, but,
yeah, it doesn't mention the equipment inside.
yeah.
well,
So,
that's
so the POA could technically probably try to sell that equipment because we own it, right?
that has been mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we did talk the other day about, with Julie and a few others,
that-
so let's just
That's-
hold down once-
Okay, with what I heard the other day, that the POA possibly selling some of the equipment, we would be interested in some of it, or Mike, our water operator, he would be interested in some of it. Okay, the rest of it, you guys can do whatever, and that was the conversation we had the other day. After that, the building is gonna be empty, and then there was a lot of questions and talk about y'all getting rid of the building. I don't know that that's on our radar yet.
yeah, that's,
But that would be a conversation that we could have in the future. To me, right now, let's get the water project done.
So the only thing is, it's gotta be decommissioned, it's gotta be turned off, there's
Offline.
nothing beyond that
Right.
as a requirement.
we will
Offline.
have to make a physical disconnection. Right now, it'd be a valve.
Yeah.
But there will need to be take the pipe off,
Yeah.
Right.
at some
Yeah.
point, but,
But that's a lot different than tearing the whole thing down.
correct.
No, you don't tear it down.
Yeah.
There's no tear down, there's
Okay,
no destroying nothing in the contract.
okay.
I understand there's a study being contemplated of continuing a POA water fill station. Does that conversation include some type of storage system?
What we were
Storage.
told from the Cape,
That's on BG.
Yeah. What we were,
That's by their recommendation, we have nothing to do with that.
And the board did approve moving forward with that review to find out what our options are.
Anything else?
I guess to address the question that maybe people haven't asked when we talk about decommissioning that, or taking that plant offline, let's use that word. That does mean that the day we make that connection, we pull that, turn that valve, the current POA fill station does go offline until time deeds that the POA decides to do the connection, you know, if they do the engineering study, if it comes in with the cost that they're happy with. So there will be a period of time, and nobody can say how long that period of time is going to be, where the only fill station will be the new one. And that's a KDHE thing. So, make sure everybody understands that. If I could wave a magic wand and have put the new fill station where the old fill station was, I would do that in a heartbeat. I don't know why we put it, you know, way off there instead of centralizing the community.
It had to be on our property.
Yeah, but we could have worked something out.
No, we couldn't work something out.
Yeah, I don't
It had to
think
be
so.
our city property.
Yeah,
I don't think
POA
so.
could have sold us some property.
No, they can't. On their own covenants, they can't sell us any property.
Well, there's some, moving on, there's some, anyway,
No,
if we could have done things
there's
differently,
no
we would have.
workaround.
That shoulda, woulda, coulda,
Yeah.
let's move on.
I'm just getting it out there that we don't like it either.
Okay.
Anything else? Going once. Twice. Moving on. Okay, now at this time, I'm gonna ask Jade Ward, one of our volunteer firefighters, to come up and talk about the emergency preparedness.
Talk about how to pay up there. That was on your list.
It's your turn.
Microphone there.
Hi, everybody. Michael kindly gave me his seat, so I didn't have my back to everybody that decided to attend. I am going to just share the same information I shared at Monday's city council meeting in hopes to reach more citizens. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jade Ward. I've been a member of the Lynn Valley Fire Department for 6.5 years now. I don't know a lot of faces here, but a lot of you probably know my husband. I am the HVAC guy's wife. My sister is also the head of the rec. So a lot of people know my family, but may not see me very much. So like I said, I've been on the fire department for 6.5 years. I also have more background in emergency services. I am leading a new developing, still in the process, emergency preparedness committee here in the community. That's going to focus on disaster preparedness. This committee is still very much in the works, and our ultimate goal is to help better prepare citizens of the community for disaster emergencies. Our first primary goal that we have is going to form a formal after-action plan should, you know, hypothetically we get direct hit from a massive tornado or something. That's just an example. There's a ton of different emergencies that could happen, and this will be a formal plan that gets implemented in that situation. This is a citizen-led response using federal guidelines to help in a disaster situation while letting the emergency personnel already do their established duties that they'll have. So I'm talking to you all today to just reach more members of the community and to share that we're still in the very beginning stages of this, but please keep an eye out for things that will be coming down the pipe, and I promise to communicate things with you as things develop. I may not have all the answers to questions today, but we will be sharing and educating and helping the community as things develop throughout this process. One of the things that is coming down the spout is going to be an emergency household registry. If any of you are familiar with those red stickers or anything that you put in your window or front door that kind of says like, oh, we have this many adults, this many children, this many pets, it's going to be kind of in a more elaborate form of that. It's going to be a database that is helpful for many emergency situations. Yeah, I'm going to mention that. It's going to be like kind of a more elaborate database. I do value privacy, and I very much respect that of others, so all the information shared in this registry is going to be kept private. and only accessible by our first responders. And I mean, there goes, as my phone goes off for a call. Not us though, it's Centerville. Sorry, now I lost my place. So this is just gonna be, we're not asking for your social security number and your credit card numbers and all that jazz. It's just gonna be some questions that citizens will be able to fill out and provide for us. And that way, if there's an emergency where that information can benefit us, we would be able to look that up very quickly. For example, we have a house on fire. We show up. How many people are we looking for? How many pets are we looking for? Preservation of life is one of the #1 goals in the firefighting world. And so it's going to give us an idea of, okay, there's 2 people that live in this house. There's no kids, there's no pets, that sort of thing, to kind of narrow that down. With that registry, Mindy held up the red file. This is a Operation Red File was developed by the state. I don't know if some people may have them already. It's very useful in an emergency situation, like an ambulance coming to your house. You fill out your information, your medication list, your medical history, and you call 911. We show up to help out. We can grab that real quick, give it right to the paramedics, and then they are taking to the hospital all the information that you would need in an emergency. We have been working on getting more of these files because for a while we couldn't get them right. So they can be received up here at City Hall with Mindy. And they're good to have. They magnetize to the side of your fridge, and that's like a universal place that people keep these files. Because if we show up to your house and you're unconscious, and we're trying to figure out information, that could be a lot, provide challenges, but also cause delays. And we don't want to delay any care, especially with the distance we have to hospitals. Another thing I would like to mention, kind of on board with the red file, please, please, please have your 911 address, like your 911 house number address, not your lot number, visible for first responders, especially at night. Usually when things happen, it's at the most unideal times. So the green reflective address signs can be received here at City Hall. Having your address clearly visible is going to prevent any delays for first responders to get to your house in an emergency, and also increase the safety for the first responders. I don't think any of us, citizens or first responders, want to go in the wrong house because we didn't have the address that was visible for us. And then lastly, with the formation of this committee, we're looking for community members that would like to apply. These individuals will have a specific job description that are willing to step up in a post-disaster situation. We're talking like mass casualty, mass damage type situation. These are people that are going to step up to the plate and help be an asset to our emergency personnel without taking our emergency personnel away from their jobs. There's going to be more coming out soon. I'm hoping to get some more work done on this committee this week. And those people that sign up for this role and are able to apply will be the members of the committee. That way we can utilize time with the meetings to educate and train these people for their specific jobs. Like I said, I probably don't have a lot of answers to your questions at this time, but I promise to communicate as things keep forming. And thank you for your time and listening to me today.
Thank you, Jade.
Great idea.
Anybody have any questions or comments on that? A few?
I just had a question, this winter, again, the first year I've been here, there was a fire out, on my property, and it was windy, and that thing moved fast. And I just thought, it struck me like a mini wildfire, like, could this go all over? I've been here a year, I've seen nothing educationally come across to say, when a fire is out of control, here's what you do, et cetera. Is there anything like that? Is there anyone worried Yeah, I did call, and they were very responsive, so, no problem there. It went fast. It went faster than I've ever seen anything
But
on fire.
when you're gonna do a burn, you are supposed to call into the county to get a burn permit, so they know you're
Well,
burning, and they'll tell you, if it's too
I
windy or
learned a
whatever.
lesson, but could happen anywhere, that something incinerates, and it's windy, and it's super dry in the winter, and
I mean,
they take
If you're
off.
asking if we can tell you what to do, we cannot tell you what
No, I just
to do.
wonder if there was thinking that says, if a citizen sees this happening, here's some things you could do, like, I wondered how you get out if the fire's burning and there's no exit. There's only one exit here. See what I'm saying? How to get out of the community if the whole place is burning. Oh my God.
I think I'd figure out a way.
Well, I sure would too, but I just don't ever hear any talk about it.
Well,
There are
I'm
two,
new,
yeah.
so-
there are some, like my house, right behind my house, there's really tall grass back there. I do worry about that. I mow back 3 or 4,
Yeah.
you know, I'm mowing somebody else's property. Am I trespassing? Absolutely. But I think it's gonna help me. But until the fire hydrants come online,
Okay,
you know, we don't have nothing.
okay.
And my committee that I'm forming is a separate entity from the fire department. Like, we're working with the fire department, and like Corey, our fire chief, I'm working very closely with him because he has a vast amount of experience and knowledge when it comes to emergency preparedness. My goal with this committee is to help educate and prepare citizens. So to directly answer your question, a default you can always call 911. If you're not, the worst thing that's gonna happen is we're gonna show up and be like, everything's okay.
Again, they kudos, they were there, they knocked it down. I just for a flash said, what if? That, you know, it was a little windier, thing was moving fast, so this is how wildfires start, they say, you know, and its conditions are rough.
I would
Okay,
imagine
then
our police department would, you know, come around and, you know, give notice to evacuate or cut off certain roads, that type of thing,
Okay, well, I just hope it never happens, and,
definitely.
but what if that front entrance was blocked and the place was burning?
Yeah,
It's a great thing to bring up.
and there is another, you know, exit that can be opened up.
Well, like you say, we'll get it done, but,
Yeah,
I don't know about that. you know.
yeah, no, it's a
Well, there's
good
that
point.
gate down there you can drive through, literally. Or there's a gate right up here,
I'm on my own.
up by, right next to the lake shop.
Yeah.
There's a gate right there too.
Okay, thank you.
But other than that, there's some barbed wire fence you can go
You
through.
talk about getting information out, is that on that .gov, or how is this information?
So, like I mentioned, this is very early stages of this. We're still working on figuring out the avenues of everything. We're working with the city, the POA, kind of trying to have cohesive teamwork, as well as I'm kind of acting as a liaison to the emergency personnel. That way we can share this information. I can guarantee there's going to be multiple avenues you will receive updates on this information. I can't speak to those right now. I can't tell you, oh, you're gonna get this at this date and through this way, but I can guarantee this is, you know, emergency preparedness. We wanna help people, so we're gonna use every avenue we can, or multiple avenues to reach all the citizens in the community. In regard to my registry, it's really gonna benefit if we have, you know, like mass consensus of everybody involving in that, so we're gonna put effort in and work to reach citizens in massive ways. So you might get annoyed with me, honestly. You're like, oh, she sent me another piece of mail or something. Like, well, we're doing our best to help the community.
And this will be a plan that evolves, you know, it's not something that's going to be done in 3 months and be done. It's going to evolve over time. I mean,
Yeah, we're working right now on, like I said, our primary goal is an after-action plan of we get hit by a tornado is like the first example that comes to mind. Even though there's so many emergencies that can cause mass destruction and mass casualty, That's our primary goal, and it's just, you know, in the developing stages, but we want citizens to know that this is in the works, and we do care about, you know, emergency response over and above what the fire department and the police department are already trained to do.
So if you wanna volunteer, where do you?
Stay tuned for more information, because that it will be something that's coming down the pipe and to share if you want to be involved and volunteer for those roles. There's going to be a very specific job description because, God forbid, we ever need to activate this plan. It's going to be a very serious, important role that you will be taking on, which is why I'm, you know, taking the time to establish, you know, the job description and have people apply and stuff.
Yep. I saw another hand out there. Yeah.
I'm sorry, could you repeat your name one more time? And then on the volunteer fire department we have here, we have one truck, and then what's the closest backup system for that?
We have, my name's Mindy, I'm also on the fire department. We have 2 pumpers, a tanker, and 3 brush trucks.
And a
We have
side-by-side.
mutual aid agreement with Blasing and Lynn County. If it's bad enough, we will have Drexel over here, Miami County, and everybody.
And how many volunteers?
Currently right now, I'd say about 12 to 15.
Okay.
I was dropped. It was over 25.
Our system is definitely different than the city's response system. We're all volunteers and take time out of our day, and we all have jobs and lives outside of it, but we also want to step up for the community. But if people need help, like we have our, you know, brothers and sisters from neighboring departments that will show up.
And I just
And
want to
get
add to that I think they do a fantastic job, a thankless job.
Because I have firsthand knowledge, they will show up immediately, they're efficient. I couldn't thank them enough when they showed up at my house.
And just one community benefit, this hydrants on the street, it's gonna have a dramatic effect on how homeowners insurance costs, a year from now, so. it's a benefit.
And, you know, God forbid if your house catches on fire, it'll help a lot there
Well,
too.
Yeah. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but it is a benefit. Honestly, I might be just a little bit more excited about the fire hydrants than getting my house on the water line.
Do the sirens work now? Both of them?
There was a problem with one of them that Corey fixed the very next day.
Did what?
Corey fixed one of the last storms we go through, there was a problem with one of the sirens, and Corey had it working the next day. So they're working.
The one off the big dam worked
When do they get
a few
tested?
weeks ago.
I'm not to speak on this. My emergency preparedness
Yeah.
committee is completely separate from the fire department,
Yeah.
even though we are working together. I am not the spokesperson for the fire department. All of that would need to come from our chief, Corey Morrison.
Because I live right underneath that line and I have not heard it. Because we were there when they came out and it wasn't, they changed the battery or whatever. And I thought I was under the impression that they get tested every month on the first Wednesday. Is that not right?
I thought it was a Thursday.
They had tested, but we don't leave them on for 10 minutes like everybody else does.
Yeah, like I said, I live right under it and I've never heard it, so.
Which one?
The one on my
High
street.
Birds.
On 7 acre.
Okay,
The one down on the end of my road.
okay.
And that was the one that didn't go off.
Now that one's controlled,
By the sheriff's office.
yeah, but I think we can, I'll have to ask
It's
Cory.
control, the sheriff's office can set that one off. The other one up by the old water fill station, the fire department.
As the warning
has to
comes
set it
up the
off.
county, the county sets that off. And, you know, like the last one, I heard Brett go tell the county to set our siren off,
It never went off.
and then at the last storm, it didn't go off?
No, they were out there, they never got it to go off.
Yeah, Corey
That's
told me
the
there was one that
wasn't-
he had to fix.
That was the one that wasn't working the
Okay.
last storm, but the
Cause I
main
know the
one on
one
the
up the
main.
hill was working, because it's a switch, and you have to go in, it's like a light switch, turn it on, and we just leave it on,
Yeah.
so.
So on Monday, the 27th, April 27th, he sent me a message that siren is fixed, transformer blue.
Transformer fuel.
Yeah.
Okay, so then has it been tested since then?
I'm assuming he tested it that day when they replaced the transformer. We'd have to,
He said
We'll-
he
we'll
assumed it
find-
had been tested that day. She
Yeah.
can't hear it.
oh, I'm sorry.
I have not, and maybe that's the reason I can't hear it, but it's right underneath it's right next to our property, and no one in our house has heard it ever go off.
We can look into that.
So I know,
That's gonna be.
she said I can't hear it at my house, and she lives right under the sirens, so technically she should.
She should, it should be
But-
in her house.
Those sirens were not made for you to hear them in your house.
No.
They are geared toward people outside that are not inside listening to the radio or watching TV, although you should, if it's right over your house, but.
You hear Drexel's,
That,
you hear Drexel's go off.
I hear Drexel's here, well, they do theirs every day at noon, I think, too, so.
But I mean, is anything real, part of being prepared would be, not depending on a single source of, information for things like this, because, sirens can have a transformer blow. Maybe your insulation's too good in your house and you can't hear it, but, there's lots of apps, there's, weather radio, there's, if you have an Amazon Alexa device, they'll tell you if there's something going on. There's all sorts of different ways. So I mean, I personally have probably way too many ways to know if something's happening. It gets annoying at times, especially in the middle of the night when I don't care because I'm sleeping. But there are lots of ways. So I would encourage everybody to have more, not just rely on the sirens. Have multiple ways to know if there's an issue. Not saying that the city doesn't care about your sirens by any stake of the means, but we will look into what's going on and make sure they're tested, et cetera. I'll get with Corey on that and see where we're at and make sure we're good. I'm sure he's got it handled, but since I don't know the answer, I'll find out.
thank you.
Anything else on the plan itself? Okay,
Thank you, Jane.
thank you, Jade.
Thank you,
Give
Jay.
Michael his chair back.
The next thing I just wanted to bring up, we don't have a lot of plans for this yet, we're just starting on this, but we have not updated our comprehensive plan since 2007. And, this city has changed just a little bit since 2007. So we are starting the process of doing that, and like I said earlier, I don't want that to be just a select few people for the city or on a committee or something. I want to hear from everybody out there what they like to see, what they don't want to see, everything along with, where we want the city to be over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Hopefully we won't wait 20 years to update the comprehensive plan again, but I think that's kind of all I have to say on that particularly, other than to kind of open it up for people to give us their thoughts on that. If anybody has any thoughts or questions on that right now. Sure.
Do you have like a constitution statement of purpose, guidelines, something that of, like our mission statement, something in that genre of what our purpose, or, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. In the corporate world, that's a normal thing. I don't know that that's a normal city. I mean, we have our
For our employee handbook,
yeah. We have our
We have
our charter ordinances
charter ordinance, yeah.
that
Codes
spells out a lot of that in our
website.
codes. But I don't know if it's exactly what you're talking about. I think the gist of all of it's in there, but probably not in a format you're used to seeing.
Our population is becoming so diverse and we're having so many different, it's just nice to have one cohesive thing that we can all wrap ourselves around, that we're all centered on and we agree to. Does that make sense? I think it adds cohesiveness to the community purpose.
Yeah.
All right, Mike.
Okay. We got a volunteer. Yeah, Doug.
Just as an input, the Lakes and Wildlife Committee, the POA, has been working on a master plan for the watershed,
Mhm.
which would include areas outside the community that are actually feeding clean or contaminated water in. Best practices for inlets and outlets. Spillway project would apply. That's $439,000 in cost share monies that are getting applied
Yeah, we
plan.
definitely would.
We can value the fact it's a rural community with diversity
Mhm.
of wildlife, and that would be a great thing to consider if we plan.
Yeah, definitely want you to be a part of that, want that to be part of it.
Well,
And
good
by
luck
the
with
way,
that,
thank you
because
for the
it's never
pens.
gonna happen.
Pardon?
It's never gonna, we've already looked into that. The insurance is outrageous, so you know.
Is it what, deer hunt?
To deer hunt, yes.
Well, there's other methods that, there's a group looking at a vaccination program, Prevecto on deer, that would kill the ticks. You know, the deer are fine by me, the ticks are not, so
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah, I
there's
don't think,
options.
I don't think he was just speaking to the hunting at all, he was talking about the watershed and everything else too.
And we only suggested
You know.
that at the recommendation of the prior mayor of, well, why don't you give us a special use permit application? So we did, so sorry for our confusion. But anyway, yeah, there's creative thought around that whole area that we work on. And by the way, thank you for the Henninger work on the silt fencing and hay bales and whatever else. That has had dramatic improvement.
Good, glad to hear that.
Silting problem.
Anything else on, I mean, yeah, just let us know if there's things, you know, maybe people not be comfortable speaking in front of a group, if there's things you would like to see or don't wanna see. Sure.
Sorry, I hate to bring up another comment, but since he's talking about the deer ticks, how would an approach be made in order to get some kind of zoning, maybe on a trial basis kind of a thing, to get non-rooster chickens to be able to be okay? Is this just a Lynn Valley Lakes thing, or is this a county thing, or?
A woman after my own heart. I am a big chicken supporter, I don't know if I have that many chicken supporters on the
So the
council.
county says you gotta
No.
have 3 acres to have any livestock.
Pleasanton gets around that, Pleasanton has chickens.
She just asked if you go up the county, the city doesn't have anything,
Right.
it doesn't allow
Pleasanton
anything.
did their own
Well,
ordinance.
our ordinance says that there's no chickens allowed, all sorts of different things, we've got an ordinance against it.
So it's
Yeah.
a city ordinance?
Chickens,
Right.
goats.
But that's what she's asking, if that could be opened up. I know that it was talked about before, and part of the reason for no was that the fact that our lake was our drinking source, and there was worry about, you know, runoff from chicken manure and stuff. That is going to change here within a week or so. So it is something that is on my mind. It's not something I wanna bring up just yet, because I've got a lot of research to do, and I'd be welcome to anybody who wants to help with that research.
I'm your girl for that one.
But also be known that the city could pass it and the POA could say no still.
Right.
But chickens do, I mean, I lived in Pleasanton for, a few years and I had some chickens. First year we were there, we had we had lots of ticks. We
Yeah.
got chickens and we had no more ticks.
We have lots of other bugs, so.
Yeah, so,
I
Yeah.
think one of the problems is some of the people who wouldn't clean it up. I have people who won't clean up their trash.
Yeah.
How are they gonna?
They
There-
fill up their pit.
yeah,
they
there's
got
a-
trucks full of garbage bags and leave them for 2 or 3 months sitting
Yeah.
in their yard, which attracts no rats.
there's a lot to be considered for them. I mean, you know, how are we gonna keep the smell down? How are we gonna keep it clean? If we allow chickens, are we gonna allow goats? I mean, there's a lot of things to consider with it,
Right.
but,
That's why I'm suggesting a limited basis on the
Yeah.
file. There'd be all kinds of parameters, make sure
Yeah.
that they're enclosed, they have these big balls that the chickens can go in, they keep them, and they can walk and can move on it and keep them contained. I mean, there's a lot of ideas.
yeah. And I would be, you know, it's something that is on my mind that I would like to see happen. I don't know if it will happen or not. I got a lot of convincing to do to get people to want it, but, there's pros and cons.
Okay.
Does anybody else on council have anything they wanna talk about?
I had a thought,
Uh-oh.
but it's going to be some of the same construction that you're seeing. I would like to look at expanding the sewer system,
Yes.
the grinder, so more people would be on the grinder pump.
I would like to see that.
And, I mean, that's something that I was looking at, and obviously, we must have a new city hall. So that's two things that are on my radar.
I know there's been a lot of talk in the past about a city hall, and there was a lot of resistance to it, because of cost. And what I know Richard and anybody else here is considering on a city hall is not the Taj Mahal, millions of dollar city hall that people heard about a few years ago. It would be a very conservative.
Barn dominium.
Yeah. You know, the thing is, we're paying close to $2,000 a month lease on this lovely building we're in right now. And that lease expires next year. And you know they're gonna raise, if we continue to keep the building, they're gonna raise our lease, and it's gonna cost more. We can build a building that's our own for that or less, and then it's ours. So, and another thing we could, look into, could we put a basement in it and make more storm shelter space? I mean, there's all sorts of things that go along with that, that's, I don't wanna spend the money on one any more than anybody else does, but this building has its own set of issues. There's holes in some floors, and we've had water pipes freeze, and all sorts of things that cost us money versus we could just have our own building that would not cost us. Well, it'd cost us, but no more than this and probably less over time. Because our mortgage payments wouldn't go up over time like our lease payments will. So.
I always thought it'd be nice to have a community center, a true community center that was big enough to have, all of our citizens, come in, not just a small area that we could hold events in, that, city hall or city offices could be attached to, but, that we could, find just, a true gathering place for the city and the citizens.
And there's been some talk, with casual conversations between members of the city council and the POA and everything about, if we could figure it out, it'd be nice to share a joint building so that citizens have one place to go to with questions or concerns or anything. There's a lot of confusion on who does what. And if you have one building to go to, where you go in and you go ask Mindy about something, so, we go across the hall to go see Pam about this or whatever. Nothing official, nothing even any real conversations more than just some side, wouldn't it be nice if, kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, cost is always a consideration.
We could share a POA meeting versus city hall or city council meeting space. There's lots of things that could be done.
There has been digging into that, Lister.
Well, not.
You can't get a grant, if you're looking for grant money, you can't get a grant if you team up with a private business, which the POA is.
We would be leasing it to them.
Are you trying to find your ways around it?
I
Trust
guess,
me, I do a
John,
lot.
all
You know
you
how we
have-
can't sell water to the public? It's kind of the same thing when you get a grant.
You know me, you know that just because you tell me you can't do something doesn't mean I'm gonna go research it and try to figure out.
Just
for
like
sure.
I've been telling you for 2 years that water fill station was gonna get closed, and you guys gave
You
these
haven't
people
told me
hope
for 2
that
years,
it
I've only
wouldn't
been
be.
there for 6 months.
During your election, you asked me about that water fill station.
I did?
Yeah.
Okay.
For the
Yes, sir.
list of master plan ideas, it'd be great to consider a helipad, a dog park, a commercial district.
Yes. The helipad is actually being considered.
What?
The helipad is actually being talked about. Corey has got to reach out to AMR, I think it is, to see if we can move it, because he would like to put it over behind the fire station.
And the
police
reason
station.
for that is we requested they move it so that we could use that area as a dog park.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's
and-
not the only reason.
That's not
Well-
the
But
only
not
reason.
the only reason, but
But, yeah,
we did request it for that
a
reason.
dog park, a splash pad, more general parks things, not to compete with what the POA has, but to augment.
That's just it. It would have to be actually outside the gates.
Yes, it has to be in publicly accessible land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is there a designated commercial district?
Not yet, but that was part of what needs to be in there. I've got my own thoughts, but I'd like to hear everybody else's too. Yes, ma'am.
What about that piece of property from, like, the garbage and the park thing at Lynn Valley Lakes over to that little place where you buy fish and bacon things? It's a huge piece of property there. Why couldn't we work something out together?
Well, that's part of my thought, what I would like to see us do.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
But again, it has to be, we'd have to open up that area to people outside. There would have to be a vote from the POA on whether to sell that land or deed it to the city or whatever, because the city can't get grants or anything for anything if we don't own that land. Yeah. So you know, it'd be great, yeah, if we could, that's one of the places I think would be great for it, because it'd be easier to access, easy access for the people inside the gates, and the 3 or 4 people currently that live outside, that, you know, next year, somebody could come in and buy land across the street and say, I'm gonna put a housing development over here. You know, so,
I think it's 4 people now.
4 people?
There's a new house up here.
Oh, woo,
They had
woo.
a- they did a garage sale, my
That's
wife said
outside
that,
the
really
city
nice
limits.
stuff. What's that?
That's outside the city limits.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, we can
No.
change that.
I'm pretty sure, isn't the 40-mile-an-hour sign
I think it is. I
the
thought it was
line?
right
And
inside
they're
of that
past
40
that.
mile
That's
an hour.
my, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can always annex it if you want in there.
That's all right.
So, any other questions on comprehensive plan type stuff? Just, you know, think about it, let us know what you think, what you want, what you don't want. And with that, just a general open floor, if there's anything we haven't talked about that you guys want to ask questions about, now's the time.
What's the status of the sewer?
They should be breaking ground within the next 30 days. It was supposed to have happened in April, but there was a miscommunication on some documents that we had to sign and send back. We did get those signed and sent back. I think they're still waiting on the USDA to sign them. Once that's done, they can begin construction. And that should take about a year for all that. I'm gonna ask us a tough one. Well, if there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Is this an official meeting?
We called it to order, so we probably should.
There's a,
Because we have a
quorum.
quorum.
There's a
Yeah.
quorum, so we should.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Please feel free to grab a cookie on your way out.